Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit of $200. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back. All from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 9 at Santa Anita on Saturday is the Grade 2 $200,000 Santa Monica. This race for fillies and mares, they're going 7/8 of a mile. Let's take a look at this field. We have a nice little rivalry brewing between our two morning line favorites, the 2 Fun to Dream, the 5 Awake at Midnight. They ran 1-2 in the La Brea with the Baffer train Fun to Dream, getting the better of the O'Neill conditioned Awake at Midnight. But the last time Fun to Dream lost, it was at the hooves of Awake at Midnight in a first level allowance at Del Mar over the summer.
Yeah, it's an interesting little matchup here. I think they're both pretty good, Dan. I kind of feel like they stand out a little bit against this field as well. And I really don't think there's that much between them as they come into their third matchup now. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. It's also worth noting that neither one of them, I don't think, is going to be sent to the lead in here, Dan, but they both have good speed from the gate. And they're probably not going to be compromised by pace in this race.
And that's a really nice segue into our Timeform US pace projector, because as we look, our friends at Timeform US, they've got this a blue bar scenario favoring horses on or near the early lead. Now, I disagree with Timeform, and I agree with you. I can't imagine the 2 Fun to Dream being last in the early portion of this race.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I guess, one thing I will say about her is there have been a couple of starts in her past where she didn't get out of the gate that well. So that could be a little bit of an issue for her. But if she breaks in here, she's going to be up close.
Timeform US does have Samurai Charm up front. She was close to a hot pace last time out in the Las Flores before tiring, and she could easily make the lead under an aggressive Flavian Pratt. The number 1 is Anacapa. She cut back in distance last time out in the Las Flores, and I just didn't see any excuses. She was well beaten by Lady T. She's got a lot to prove at this level.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. I just want to point one thing out with this horse. So I think this is a tough spot for her, unfortunately. She was pretty good in her prior 2 starts going the 2-term. I thought she ran well in those races. She didn't run as poorly as it looks in the Las Flores last time. That was a faster pace. She was off of it. And it kind of looks like, just from the running line, like she just didn't do anything in there. But she was actually making a little bit of a run through the stretch in that race. But she was just too far away when that field got to the top of the stretch after getting outpaced early. I think she's going to be a little sharper on the cutback there. It felt like that field got away from her a little bit. Maybe it doesn't happen here. She was the only horse I could get even mildly interesting in at a price in this race. So I kind of threw her in there. I still think it's going to be hard for her to win.
Johnny Velasquez takes the mount for Carla Gaines. Fun to Dream is the number 2. She's won 3 in a row for Baffert, including the Grade 1 La Brea on opening day at Santa Anita. We see her on the outside. That's where she traveled. She stayed relatively close to the pace and stalking range. She makes the front. Awake at Midnight's going to make a good, strong run at her in the stretch. Fun to Dream holds on by less than a length.
Yeah, had the position on Awake at Midnight throughout the running of this race, and is just going to hold her off to the wire. Good performance here, though, from Fun to Dream. I wasn't as taken with her race 2 back then when she was in against Calbreds. She worked really, really hard to get the job done there at 1-5, but it felt like she improved last time. I think she's good. She's probably the horse to beat. I also kind of feel like the best race, or my favorite race that she's run so far, is the only time they stretch her out. I'm kind of waiting for Baffert to do that again.
Samurai Charm is the number 3, and Peter Miller found some great spots to make bank with Samurai Charm at Zia Park, 2 and 3 back, where she was just too much for that overmatched competition. Now, based on those 2 races, she was bet down to favoritism last time out in the Grade 3 Las Flores, and she really just didn't fire her best shot. I still have a question as to how good she is.
Yeah, that's my problem with her too. And even if the pace projector is right, Dan, and she makes the lead, I just don't see that being some kind of huge advantage for her in this race. Just based off of the Las Flores last time, when it felt like they really gave her another shot against some good horses, I could never bet her in here.
I think Angel Nadeshiko is going to be forwardly placed despite the fact that she's cutting back from a route to a sprint. The one and only time she did that in the past resulted in her maiden win, going 6.5 at Del Mar when she was up close to the pace. Maybe she just has middle distance speed and it's not sharp enough to go 7/8, but I think she'll be close in here and she seems consistent enough where maybe she can hit the board at a decent price.
I agree that she's consistent and she does have some ability. I'm just a little worried about her cutting back in this race with her running style, which, just she likes to be forward in her races. And for the most part, the last 3 or 4 dirt races, those paces have not been fast, Dan. And this one feels like it's, even though they might not be blazing, it's going to be a lot faster. I think it works against her.
Awake at Midnight. I really liked the way she ran when she beat Fun to Dream in that first level allowance. It was off a layoff. She was 4 wide all the way around the track, and she was better than the expected favorite on Saturday. On Saturday that day, she then ran fine in the Zenyatta. The Breeders' Cup Distaff was too tough, and she ran fine again in the La Brea. This outside post position gives Mario Gutierrez options to stay relatively close to the pace. I don't think they're going to let Fun to Dream get away this time.
Yeah, I don't think they should. Really, I think it's imperative for them to sort of get aggressive here from the gate because, if nothing else, she's a really good gate horse. She breaks fine in her races. So, and listen, the 2 times that she squared off against Fun to Dream, it was just the horse that had position on the other one that wound up winning both times. And it was Awake at Midnight last September, most recently in the La Brea. It was Fun to Dream. I would like to see Gutierrez break the gate here and try to get to the lead.
John Sheriffs was patient with the 6 Lady T, a filly that had been suffering from seconditis, gave her all of the summer off, and she came back with a decent performance in her first level allowance, and then she broke through in the Las Flores last time out. Now, she's the one that could be compromised the most by a lack of early pace because she just appears to be a true one-run closer.
Yeah, and she had a pace in this race, the Las Flores. She was off of it on the outside and just manages to stay on late. These 2 horses that are going to run second and third, they were up there on the hot pace throughout. And you can see how tired they are at the end. And Lady T is going to pick them up. She ran well in there. This is a tougher race.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 2 Santa Monica at Santa Anita on Saturday. Awake at Midnight. The key is really the pace situation. She has shown that she can stay close. It'll be very interesting to see how the connections play the break.
Yeah, it will be. I'm going to take the position, at least for now, Dan, that she's as good as Fun to Dream is. And if they bet this race along that morning line, I'll happily take the 5.
I think Fun to Dream has a little bit more upside. She's a little bit more lightly raced than Awake at Midnight. And I think she will get the jump on her one more time turning for home. But it should be a fun little rivalry, the 2 and the 5. Mike's going with Awake at Midnight. I'm going Fun to Dream in the Santa Monica. Good luck.